Mark, if you can, just kind of maybe take us through the last few days, kind of what's the team been up to, and what's kind of been the mood around the clubhouse.
Well, when we got back from Hoover, it almost felt like we had been grinding for about a month straight. So gave them several days off. I think we got back in the weight room on Saturday, light workout on Sunday, and then of course yesterday seeing where we're going and who we're playing. Gave us a better idea kind of to prep this week, and we had a pretty intensive practice yesterday, and we'll do the same today.
Sam?
It's been a month since the coaching change happened, and if you remember from back then, did you think when you took over that you would be in this position right now, talking about an NCAA tournament in the regional?
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't focused on it. I was just trying to focus on the next game. When it all happened, our primary focus was on Memphis on Tuesday night, and doing the best job we could individually and collectively to be in a good spot to win each game. So that's been our focus, and it remains our focus.
Danny?
Coach, the veteran network on this team is strong with Bryce and Hunter and some others. Just how much have you relied on them to kind of get y'all through the tough times and to this point where you're postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly a big time leaning on them, and the responsibility of the leaders to go into detail. Noah Sullivan as well, even though he hadn't been here that long. The pitching staff is loitered with leaders with Carson Ligon and Pico Khan and Evan Sierra, guys that do the right thing in all areas. And the shakeup didn't deter any of that. It of course deterred some of the things in the emotional state for a little while, but the guys got right back to work and continued to kind of push. And I think the message, and you heard it from them, the message was we still have a lot to play for. So I think, the last 3 weeks to a month, the body of work, showcased that those guys were serious, and they've done what it takes to be in this position.
Robbie?
Bryce was talking about it earlier about the 2018 regional, and he had some conversations with Goat yesterday about it. What do you know about that time? Have you talked to Gotro about that? Or, I mean, the big home run Elijah McNamee hit, they sparked a run. I mean, what do you know about that season and specifically that regional?
Well, just that we hope history repeats itself. And this time of year, even starting with Hoover, this is the time of the year where baseball can be magical and the moments can be special. And we've talked a lot about that as a group, and to know that situation in parallel with this, our focus really has been mostly on just becoming the best version of ourselves. It hadn't been like a haze in the barn, let's just rest up and we are what we are. It's been push, especially, after getting a little bit of a breather from Hoover. It's been push and try to be in a position when we get there. And of course, everyone wants to talk about Florida State in that moment, but we have a really good Northeastern team first, and we're going to have to earn everything.
Steve? Along those lines, too, you've got an interesting decision to make as far as pitching goes. Like, when do you throw Pico? A lot of people would say hold him for game 2 one way or another, but you got a team that's with second in the nation stolen bases. I mean, how do you kind of work through that aspect of it, and kind of where's your head at as far as that goes?
Yeah, well, Pico's pinning today. We've kind of decided to give him a little bit of a longer breather on the back end of Hoover. Felt like, the last month of the season he had been used at a clip where it probably seemed a little bit tired to me. So we really try to capitalize on the rest. He's pinning today. We'll see how he looks, and we'll see, what his availability looks like Friday, Saturday, and how we stack it up.
You mentioned, when you stepped up, it was almost like a one day at a time sort of thing. I know that's a sports trope, but
Sure.
What have you seen from the team in that time since then to kind of buy into that, win the games that they had to get to this point, and how much does that help you going into this weekend?
Sure. Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, as a leader, you're preaching these things, the mental toughness, the control what you can control, one day at a time, all these different, idealistic points where, really the last month, we've all had to live them. And so, it's been a great opportunity for me to learn and grow. The guys, I think, embodied the resilience and the toughness that it takes to take a bad situation or an adverse situation and grow from it individually and as a group. And they're going to be required to do that the rest of their life, sports or beyond sports. So, we've just tried to have fun with it. We've tried to continue to work and push, understanding that we have a lot to play for. And, and I think the guys have responded in a really, they should be proud of where they're at now, considering all things.
Sam?
No, it's only been 24 hours, but what do you just know about Northeastern, Florida State, or just the regional opponents you might face?
Well, starting with Northeastern, it's on paper, it's one of the most complete teams in the country. They defend at an incredibly high level. They pitch and they make you earn everything. It's a deep pitching staff. It's sometimes you face a mid-major team and they have 4 or 5 really. These guys got 10 or 11 or 12 guys deep, and it's really good stuff. And so we're gonna have our hands full with them. Their play style offensively is up tempo. There's a lot of stolen bases. They can turn a 2-run lead into a 5-run lead. Their playbook's very deep in the short game. They're very opportunistic. They're very athletic. They're old on the mound, and they're very old and experienced, as position players. It's a predominantly right-handed hitting lineup, and of course they're as hot as anybody in the country. 27 in a row is quite the feat. So very complete, well coached, hard nosed, and then the Florida State, I think, has hosted more regionals and been in this position more than anybody in the country. I got great respect for Coach Jarrett and what he's done, and of course they have arguably the best combination of the best starter and the best position player in the country with Lodice and Arnold. So we're focused on Northeastern. We'll start taking a look at Florida State probably tonight and tomorrow, and Bethune as well, of course. But that's where we're at right now from a scouting standpoint.
Robbie?
You talked about Pico, and he's taken on more of a load than he has in his entire career this year. And I mean, as you know, that can really wear on a pitcher. What does a week off like this, in your experience, do for a pitcher and kind of rejuvenating them for a postseason run?
Well, I think everybody's different. Every guy's different. You hope that it gives them a shot to the arm and their body in ways that they don't even understand. You get stuck in like the grind of the season, and you're sore and you don't recover in areas, and you just get used. That becomes your new norm. Well, you hope that through rest, recovery, rejuvenation, rehab, just get back on a consistent lifestyle, diet, nutrition, the strength, all of it. You hope that you get a better version of him. But everyone's a little different. Pico, in his first full season off of Tommy John, I think we're seeing a little bit of that. We've seen a little bit of that over the last month. But there's nobody tougher, and like prying the ball out of his hand is incredibly difficult. So he wants the ball. He'll be in a good spot. Like I said, he's pinning today, probably a lighter pin just to get some work off the slope, and you hope that we get the best version of him this weekend.
Steve?
You said in Hoover that it felt like this team had been in the playoffs in a must-win situation for a month. Well, now you enter a situation where everybody's 0-0, and so how do you maybe use that as a leader and a motivator to kind of let them know, hey, this is a new season, everybody's starting fresh?
Sure. Well, I mean, you think about it from all perspectives. Of course, we've fought our battles, and we're in this position, and you got Northeastern coming in 27 in a row, and Florida State has been deserving of a host. But I don't think, everyone's paying attention as much as we're paying attention, and everyone's paying attention to what we've done the last month too. So, to go in, almost have a rebirth of the season, be 0-0, there's as much as we're preparing for other people, they got their eye on us too, and I'm not sure there's anybody thrilled about seeing us in their regional either.
Take a few more, Danny.
But you brought up Evan's name on my previous question, just a guy that wasn't in the rotation at the start of the year, but it's really giving you some good outings down the stretch. Just, we've talked about his progress all year, but just what his value is right now going into the postseason.
Well, stability, just the floor of what he does, and the ability as a veteran, as a strike thrower, as a competitor, to just be in those environments. Of course, you saw it here versus Ole Miss, but to just be able to get you off the ground. Sometimes the first 3 outs are as difficult as the last 3 outs in these impactful games, whether it be postseason or sometimes the big rivalry games, or certainly in Hoover. And just to be able to have that stability and that veteran presence to be able to just steady the ship, I think is huge. And of course, just the pitchability and the arsenal, how deep his arsenal is to allow you to, whoever you're facing, to be able to navigate a lineup and attack weaknesses.
Take 2 more, Sam, and then close it out with Rob.
Do you think Chase Hungate will be available at all during the week?
It's TBD. I mean, progressing every day, but I'm not sure he's going to make it in time, so TBD.
Coach, you've worked together with these other staff members, Gotro, Cheesebro, and some of the other guys for the last couple of years, and all you guys have different journeys to Mississippi State. Gotro's been here a lot longer, and What's this experience been like just for you three specifically since taking over and trying to navigate the waters here the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the on-field stuff, I think the on-field stuff is easy. You know, it's they're all great men of incredible character. They care about these kids deeply. They've invested so much in getting them here and developing them and through the trials and tribulations, but also through the triumphs. So our goal, and I've just seen them really invest in the kids every day and just put our focus there. The outside of baseball stuff, you know, of course, we're all aware of everything. It's been incredibly professional. They've been, like all of us, just working as hard as we can in the office and to make sure we're preserving this program and putting us in a good position to play postseason baseball. And, you know, I just got great respect for them and their character and how they've handled it and made my job as difficult as this transition has been, made it about as easy as it could possibly be.